I mean, we've got a lot of stuff to cover tonight, and we got an awesome presentation which we want to get to. So we're going to get going, all right? So my name's Keith, NF7B. If you don't know, you're stuck with me again for a third month in a row. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Who's here for the first time? Raise your hand. Wow, we got a bunch. Let's do this kind of quick. If we could, just have you say your name and where you're from and...
Shauna Johnson, over on the other side of the Black Hill.
Great. And you have are you a call? Do you have a? Are you a ham?
J7 PND.
Great.
My name's Tanner. I'm just a little over off of Sunset, and my call sign is KM7GDF.
And you're a brand new ham, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Who else? Who else do we have here, first timer? That's right, Greg.
Greg, live in Washington, and I don't have a call sign yet because I just passed.
Just passed the tech. Awesome. There you go. All right.
Name's Doug, W7FKX, live in New Harmony.
Oh, great. Awesome. Welcome. Welcome. Who else? Well, Earl, we know you, Earl. Are you new? You've been to meetings before, though, Earl, right? Yeah, of course. Okay, two here. Yeah, three. Okay, go ahead.
Craig.
Okay, and you just,
KM7GOF.
and you're a new ham as well, is that right?
Yep.
Great. Congratulations. Awesome.
Steve and Hurricane, KJ7.
Oh, great. Welcome. We've talked before. Yeah. Nice to meet you in person, Steve. Nice to meet you in person. Have an eyeball QSO with you. Who else is brand new? Haven't been to a meeting before? All right. Awesome. Okay. Let's get going. First thing, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. If you guys would stand, pull off your hats, and let's show some respect to the flag. Brett, you want to lead us? Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you very much. So I am running crazy tonight. I blew up my slides for the night, and so I was having to redo everything at the last minute, so I'm a little bit flustered, so bear with me. We'll get through it, though. First thing, let's talk about the DARC, the Dixie Amateur Radio Club board. We have a little update for you. The beginning of the month, welcome in, Joe. The beginning of the month, Larry, our club president, informed us that he was going to be out again this month. So that's, 3 in a row. He's got a lot of things going on, personal stuff that he's kind of spread thin. So he's got, other HOA boards and things he's on. He's got family stuff, trying to see family and things like that. He's also got to have some minor surgery, nothing serious, but he is going to have some recovery time for it. So he kind of said it'd probably be best if he would just step aside and step down and resign from being the president of the club. And the reason being is that we kind of need all hands on deck, and we need to have people on the board who can actually help take up some of the workload. So the board all got together, and we met with him, and we decided, okay, that we get it. So Larry is still with us in the club. He's going to be at field day. He's going to help set up the networking and the computers, but he has resigned as the president. So we want to give you an update of what we've done. The new board, or the changes in the board. Here's your board of directors, okay? We have made Brett Pruitt the new president. Congratulations to Brett. There he is over there. So, you know me, and you know Tom, and you know Nancy. We now have added, you remember Adam Brown, who used to be on the board a few years ago. He's back on the board again. He's a great guy with a lot of energy and some excellent ideas, and he's going to be an excellent addition. So he will finish out that term of Larry's, which will be until December, and then we have a new voting for 2 positions, right? Yes. 2 positions? 3 positions? 2. So, and then we'll have that in December, okay? So that's who's on the board now. I know there's questions of where we are, but that's who we have, okay? That's who you can talk to and direct emails or communications to. We always love to get feedback from you. We want to know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, what you want to see, what you don't want to see. We take it all. We talk about it. And this board, we get on a Signal chat. Signal's an app. It's like a texting app. We're on Signal, and we text with each other almost every day about something, or every 2 days. So we stay in constant communication and are always working to make things better. So don't hold back. Anything you want to add, Brett?
Thanks for throwing me under the bus.
I know, if I was respectful, I would have pulled the horn before. Okay, so we lost Lynn Toteman recently, W0LKT. I'm going to ask Don to come up because he does such a wonderful job with these silent key ceremonies, and we're going to take a moment and honor Lynn. Man, it's a bummer. He's a good guy. So if you would, just let's let Don take that over, and we'll do that silent key ceremony.
Okay, I'm going to read this because I sometimes get emotional when I try to memorize it. But in general, what this is, the ceremony, is kind of like what other organizations do, like fire departments. When they lose somebody in their group, they have last call, stuff like this. So, and we have a term for ours, which is a silent key. And it says, with sadness we remember Lynn K. Toppin, whose last transmission was May 26, 2026. He was 78. The silent key is a term from telegraphy and early radio. When an operator passed away, the telegraph key becomes silent. The ceremony is usually performed as follows. When voice is used, the silent key's call sign is called 3 times. The third and final call ends with Sierra Kilo, and in the case of Morse code, the pro sign for end of transmission, da-da-da-da-da, which is Morse SK, sent with no pause between characters. In memory of Lynn, we will observe the silent key ceremony. The silent key will be called by net control 3 times, pausing after each transmission for reply. At the end of the third transmission, net control will say, "Nothing heard, rest in peace," and we'll miss you. W0LKT, this is net control, come in. W0LKT, this is net control, come in. Whiskey 0, Lima, Kilo Tango, this is net control, please come in. Nothing heard. Rest in peace, Lynn. We'll miss you. Sierra Kilo.
All right, let's move on here. We're going to start with some reports real quick. BE report. Craig, you going to do that for us?
Yep. So last Saturday in Hurricane, we had one gentleman, Craig Heaton, who I think introduced himself, who passed the technician exam. Congratulations. Today, we had 3 people pass exams. John Freeman, are you here, John? There you are. John upgraded to extra today. Greg McCombs, who introduced himself earlier, just became a technician. Yep. And he joined the club today, and he donated to the repeater fund too, so thanks for that, Greg. And James Johnston, who went out to get money to join the club. He's from Sarasota Springs. Anybody know where that is? Way up north. He happened to have family in Cedar City, and I asked him, well, how did you make it all the way down here from up there? And he said, well, I look at ARRL, and you guys here in St. George and a club in Provo is it. And at least you do yours on a regular basis and at least once a month, sometimes twice a month. So he's come down here. He decided that he's in the area enough, he goes to Zion quite a bit, that he wants to become a club member. So he'll be joining us shortly. Okay, so that's the VE report for Saturday and today. Now, as you know, we have a new initiative, which is our new members program, and as a result of that, I'd like to hand out some radios to new technicians. So if you're here, and I call your name, and I know the first one's here. Tanner, can you come on up? And is Kimball Willard here? Stay right here, stay right here. Come right over here. Craig, hey, Craig Heaton, come on up, Craig. And is Dylan Mitchnick here? I think Dylan was going to be out of town. And Greg, can you come on up too? Greg, there you go. Come on over here. There you go. So we actually will be giving out 6 radios tonight, I believe. So as a result of that, what's going to happen next is at the end of the meeting, we'll actually have a instruction sheet on how to use the Baofeng radios. And these radios have 5 channels into them. Our repeaters are in them, 2-meter call sign, NOAA weather reports in there. So at the end of the meeting, we're going to spend 15 minutes back in the quarter. We're going to put these radios together. They're going to be explained on how to use them, and then we're going to go outside and we're going to hit some of our repeaters here. So if you hear some requests for signal checks, please get on there and respond to them. In some cases, this will be their first time on the air. So we're going to get over to Mike Fright. We're going to hit the repeaters tonight. Okay. All right. Anyway, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks, Father. We'll see you later. We'll see you at the end, okay?
Yeah, the program with the radio thing, whoa, geez, I just knocked this little fuzzy cover off. The radio program has actually been a huge success. I got to thank Harris. He's the one that had the idea for it. I have to give credit where it's due. It's worked out beautifully. We bought like 10 of those Baofengs to starter radios. They're gone. We have to order our second batch already. It's working out really great, and it gives people a good start. So anyway, all right, thanks, Craig. Is there any Aries report? Anybody here from Aries doing a report tonight? Anything? Nope? Okay. Repeater report. Let's talk about what we're doing here. I'm going to have Tom help me out here, but let me tell you what's going on. So, Tom, K6FEU, has built all of the new control systems for all 3 of the repeaters. We're going to show you what they look like. They haven't been installed in the racks, but he's got everything stacked up the way it'll be. They're all ready to go. Utah Hill, Tom and I are probably going to go up Friday morning, and we're going to put the first controller in at Utah Hill, that site, on Friday morning. We'll get to the other sites pretty quickly as well. It'll take us a couple days to figure out timing, especially with field day coming up, but we'll get them going. And Tom may have some more to tell you about those either tonight or in the coming weeks. Antennas will be the next phase. So the antenna pricing right now, those antennas that we're going to do are 3 commercial grade antennas. They're Anderson CommScope DB224. We're going to go away from the old fiberglass radome Station Masters, and we're going to go to these aluminum exposed dipole antennas. They got an amazing sensitivity of listening coverage and transmission as well. They're awesome antennas. They're not cheap. They're $1,800 each. But we might be getting a deal on them. I don't know yet. Go right ahead.
Yeah, ask for a senior discount.
Are there any seniors in here? No, exactly. But we'll hopefully we'll get a really good price and get that price way down. I mean, I don't know what he can do. I'd love if he could come in for like $1,100 or $1,200 an antenna. It'd be awesome. So that's going to happen. That's the second phase. Third phase will be more getting into like solar and things like that. But that'll be the second phase. So first phase of the new controller. Second phase will be antennas. We're going to go to 1/2-inch Heliax hardline, which will be a lot better up on the hills with all the RF up there. New connectors, the whole bit. So we'll get a price from them. Echolink and All-Star are 2 new features that we probably are looking at. It's not totally determined yet. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see how it goes. If we are going to do Echolink and All-Star, it's got to sound good. we can't have it on the system if it's going to sound like trash. So we're working on that, and if we can make that work really well, and we're all happy with it, then we'll go ahead and put that in place. And that'll be kind of cool, because then you can be out of town, and you can get on your phone and go to your Echolink app on your phone and check in on the net if you want, or make a contact. Did you have something you want to add?
Yeah, just for distance-wise, Gary and I have been working on Echolink, and I was down in Cabo,
Yep.
San Lucas, and I got
And I heard you.
Echolink, and Keith heard me, so
Yeah.
that's a kind of a nice little deal.
It'll be great, and especially once we get the new link radios in, and the new antennas, and the repeaters are sounding a little bit better. Hopefully the audio will all be equalized, and it'll sound a lot nicer.
We
So,
still do it all over the world.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And same with All-Star. So we'll get into all that stuff later. Continuing on the repeaters, let me show you. Do you want to talk about, I can flip through these slides for you, but let Tom talk about what he's building.
Okay, so
And
this is
can you get that light for me back there?
a
Just flip
repeater
that switch.
system set up just temporarily and testing
Thank you.
it in my lab. So the repeater is DR2X right here. This is the control radio system that controls the whole system up and down. Through this radio, you can turn off the repeater, you can turn off the controller, and you can turn off the link radio. This is the controller, RCOM controller. This is the link radio, and the link radio has a CAN a filter system to keep it out. Actually, the receiver radio here has a filter to keep it out of the frequencies of the link radio. Just in case we want to turn off the link radio, and the link radio is transmitting, it might interfere with that, so that's why we put a filter. So that's basically the system that is going up in every repeater system.
Anything on that one or different? Or?
No, it's just
Okay,
a
close up.
view of the controller.
Okay, what about there? Anything?
Okay, this is we call it the magic box, okay, and this is the shelf with all the wiring, interconnects, relays, and all the stuff that makes it work. So that's basically it. You access, or one of us access the individual repeater through digital codes, and can turn on or off any part of it remotely. In the past, we had to go all the way up to the repeater sites. If something happened, like a repeater would hang up or a control radio would hang up, you'd have to find a way to get up to Tokerville and turn it off or figure out what was going on. And now we'll be able to do it all remotely.
Great. Awesome. Thank you very much. Tech Time Zoom call. This next Tuesday, next week, 6:30. The link is on the website. It'll be in an email. You click on that. You can join the Zoom call 6:30 to 7:30. It's 1 hour. This we're going to focus this time on questions and answers for you guys. If you have a technical question, you're trying to figure out how something works, you have a radio that you don't understand how a certain antenna works, whatever it is, we're going to have people on that call to help you out. We all kind of help each other on that call. We'll probably have a topic or two to talk about as well. I think Tom and I are going to talk about something we could talk about. So if there's not a lot of questions, we'll have a technical discussion. So it's a pretty cool little event to come to, easy to do. We can answer more questions. Water bottles. We had some of these as gifts during the fund drive. There's a limited amount of them. So I've got about, this one's going to be saved because we're going to give it away later. Not tonight, but another time. We have, I'm going to say, let's see, we have about 23 of them, I think, left. They're $20 each. That's probably going to be it for a while on ordering them. So if you're interested in one of these bottles, I've got them here tonight. I can meet you later, but 20 bucks. They're not going to be on the website. We're just going to sell them individually. Let me know. They're very cool. They have the logo on one side and then a little bit of an engraving on the back side. Okay? So if you're interested in those, they are available. YouTube channel. We started posting the meetings up on YouTube, which is why we have the microphones. Brad back here has got his whole setup. So now you can start going to the club's YouTube channel. Just search for Dixie Amateur Radio Club. You can catch up on the meetings if you miss it. We'll also start getting into, Brett and I have kind of started talking about doing little videos here and there, instructional how-tos or different things that might be kind of interesting. We'd love to hear suggestions. If you guys want to get involved in helping with that stuff, if you want to make something and help us put it up, by all means. So start thinking about that. How many in here use the Groups IO account? Okay, we had it for a while. It kind of got not used for a while. We're going to bring it back, and it's coming back strong. This is an awesome place to go to for chat within you guys. Go ahead, Nancy.
If you haven't been on Groups IO, I didn't start this, okay? I didn't do it. But anyway, we got people that want a CW group within DARC. So tomorrow I'll be putting out an email, but in September, we're just going to have a meeting of anyone interested in CW. You don't have to know CW. You might, maybe you just want to learn. Maybe you just want to, and people who have cool keys are going to bring them for people to try. And then we're going to figure out where we're going from there. So it's going to be in September on a Saturday. I can't remember which Saturday, but it'll be in the email tomorrow. So that's fine. Everybody come on out. You don't have to be a CW whiz to do it. Okay?
So that little thing, that's a cool little chat. It just started amongst club members. So what's cool about the Groups IO, this is a way for all of you to communicate with each other, and you don't have to go through the centralized board and somebody to control the website and emails. You guys control that chat on the forum. We moderate it. We're going to find anybody interested in being a moderator. If you think about it later on and you're interested in being a moderator on the Groups IO, please let me know. I'd love to get some other folks to help out with that. So the Groups IO, I don't have time to go through how it works tonight, but we'll talk about that in the future. If you're interested, I would get signed up for it. And,
what is it? What is it?
Oh, what is it? Well, okay. Groups IO is a forum, okay? So it's you set up your account in there, and all the members who are on that Groups IO, they see a list of messages on there, right? And it could be a topic. For example, CW. Somebody mentioned CW, and they write on there. Well, then other people go, oh, yeah, I love CW. Oh, yeah, why don't we do somebody else chimes in and says, why don't we get together? Great, and it begins this conversation. Or it could be about, for example, mesh stuff recently. It was actually about Mesh-tastic and Mesh Core. Somebody started that. So people are interested in learning, and so people start exchanging knowledge, helping each other out. They start conversation. So it's kind of a place.
Do you have one on AI?
Oh, I don't yet. We could set up an AI chat. So this is a way for people to for the club to communicate about different topics that you're interested in, and you'll find other members in the club. We have about 200 members now almost. So, they'll end up getting in there and they'll start talking with you about it. There's hashtags, you know what those are, with a little pound sign and then a word. There's hashtags that help you find things quickly, like mesh or APRS or single sideband or, whatever the topic is. You put a hashtag on your subject line. And we're going to go through in the future, we're going to go through a whole class on how to do it. We'll set that up and show you guys exactly how it works. So that is another thing we've added. Tech Time got that in there twice.
Keith,
Yep.
just quick. I just posted on Groups IO this morning. It's a great opportunity. I've used it for a long time. I am looking for a heat kit SB102 expert. So if you are a heat kit SB102 expert, I posted this morning. I'd be loving to talk to you. It's operational. It's been recapped. I am the third owner, but I am looking for somebody who's got a little more knowledge than I am. It does work, but again, there are experts out there that I would love to talk to.
And did you see someone responded to you?
I saw two, but I've already recapped it. Somebody said, and then somebody sent me to a YouTube video, which is cool, but sometimes you need one-on-one.
Got you. Okay, so again, I know I'm going fast through this just because we got to get moving, but we are going to get more into it. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Does everyone know that Groups is an app? You can get it in the App Store.
Yeah, I'll tell you. So yeah, you're right. So it's a website, but it's also an app. So you can either access it on your computer through your web browser at groups.io, and then you can search for Dixie Amateur Radio Club. And then you have to be a club member. So you basically apply and we approve you. You can also put it on your phone. and it's super cool on your phone. So you can actually just read messages as they come in. Now, one trick about Groups.io, there's some email settings. We set it up when you sign up. You can change them later, but we set you up with your display name, which you can change. And we set you up so that you only get one email every morning about 2 minutes after 6 a.m. There will be a digest that will tell you everything that was posted the day before. And then you can go in, think about what you want to talk about and what you want to respond to if you do, and handle it. Otherwise, you can set it up so that you get an email every time somebody posts. That's a pain in the butt, let me tell you. Because your phone and your email starts going off all day long. So, you know, you guys control how often you want to get messages from Groups.io. So thank you for that on the app.
I have an announcement.
Oh yeah?
Tomorrow night, Ham Radio Utah Facebook is promoting a 2-meter FT8 get-together from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m.
And that's on the Groups.io. So that's how you found out about it, right?
Well, I had that from Russ.
You had that one? Oh, for Russ. But there you go. But he put it on the Groups.io. So again, you find out about different events going on that you might not hear about in a timely fashion from anywhere else. Okay, POTA. We had that great POTA barbecue a few months ago. That was a lot of fun, grilling hamburgers and all that. But man, we're going to do POTA with chili cook-off now in October. I think it's October 17th. We'll get the exact dates on the website and on the emails, but it's a few months away, so you got time. Toward I think the 3rd week in October, so we'll be past the marathon. I did talk with Jerry. Where are you at, Jerry? All right, over here. Jerry is like a chili cook-off expert. He knows how to do it. So he's going to be our chairman for the chili cook-off committee. He's probably going to be looking in the future for some help, and he's going to start, talking to people who want to compete. If you've got a chili recipe and you want to play around, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do that with POTA. So we'll have our 3 POTA stations. Sign up online?
Yeah, so the POTA and chili cook-off, it's, if you go to this will be an email tomorrow, but go to that event in October, click on it. If you're going to come, tell us how many people are coming and if you're bringing chili. That tells us how many people are competing and how many plates.
How many people are eating only? So how many are competing and how many are eating?
Yeah, so please sign up. It's free. We're just going to ask for donations at the event.
Okay, great. So so that's going to be a lot of fun. More details are coming about the chili cook-off. We have invited the guy. I did talk to the group in Mesquite. They're super stoked about it, so they're going to come up and join us for that. We'll put an invitation out to Cedar City, to the Rainbow Canyons Club as well. If everyone wants to come down and join us, they're totally welcome to compete and eat. So it should be a lot of fun. And we're going to do it out at Quail Creek, right?
The POTA and chili cook-off is at the dispersed camping just south of Quail Creek.
Great. Okay. Awesome. All right. Field day.
So it is on October 17th.
It's that Saturday, yeah.
And that Saturday, the 17th, happens also to be the POTA Support Your Parks weekend. So we a lot of different credits.
We knew that. All right. Field day. We talked about community center at Kolob. Okay. Thank you to Brett for getting this spot for us. I think this is going to be a great location, June 27th to 28th. We've talked about all these things before. I won't run through that, but you can see up here, there's a lot of people that weren't here last month. So Kolob Reservoir, we got hiking trails up there, ATV trails, fishing, Lava Point overlook. A lot of stuff to do besides radio. So if you want to come up with family, we will have RV and tent camping, overnight camping at our site. Plenty of room. I don't think we're going to do any workshops, but we are going to have the spaghetti dinner, and we're going to talk about that in a second. Let me go to the next slide here. Okay, this is the location, in case you didn't see it yet before, the community center up there. This extends, way out here, this field, was it, Brad, is it like 2 acres?
No, it's 3.5.
3.5, okay. And they got a great indoor building for us. So we have this great building, but we also have this excellent patio outside that we're going to use. So Brett, what did we talk about? You want to help me out here on what antennas we decided?
So we're going to do the 2 loops, the 6-foot and the 3-foot
3-foot.
loop.
Yep.
So we'll have those. We've got the off-center fed dipole if we want to run it. Did you want to try and set up the big loop around those posts?
The loop?
Yeah.
I don't know, if you want to, we can, otherwise we just go with the vertical and I think the loop would get out super great up there if we got it up on those. So I think the two ground loops, and then the big loop up, and then maybe the vertical, because we're gonna run a 4.
Need a button tri-banner?
Probably not. I don't think we need it.
Okay.
I don't think it works more than 20. Does it go past 20 meters at all?
No.
I'd rather put up an 80-meter loop. You can work all the way.
It goes 10, 15, and 20.
Right, but if you put up an 80-meter loop, you can work everything.
No, you got, oh, the loop?
Yeah,
Okay.
with a tuner.
And we're gonna have those two Ciro Mazzonis. We got the 6 foot and the 3 foot.
Yeah,
So
and then we've got the vertical would be a good one, or the offset.
Could be less trouble to do though.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we'll need some help getting antennas put up.
Yep.
We'll need some help getting the dinner going. Not a lot, but helping with plates and bowls and forks and napkins and whatnot. And then
so
it would be nice to have somebody to help with parking when people are showing up, directing them. If they've got a camper, we're going to put them out against that fence that goes around the community center. If they're just coming in to park for the day and come in, we'll have a designated spot for them that's kind of out of the way, so we could use somebody to help with parking. Public information, I might have my kids do that now. But I am going to post on the Co-op community Facebook page that we're going to be up there that weekend. And I guarantee you we're probably going to get a lot of looky-loos coming out and visiting, because that's just kind of
it'd be great to have some like public liaisons, guys that could, and gals that can talk to people that come in who don't know anything about ham radio and are curious. Love to have some folks for that.
Larry and Craig are going to help out with computers and networking. And we might need a 4th radio. I think we'll be okay though.
Okay.
So.
And then of course, station operators. So throughout the whole time, 24-hour period, we'll need station operators. So runs from noon Saturday to noon on Sunday. And I think we might see if we can maybe set up antennas on Friday, but we're not sure, right?
Yeah.
But
And if you want to tent camp, you can tent camp. It's been getting down to the mid-40s at night, so it's not just absolutely freezing.
about 80 during the day.
Yeah, it'll be June. It's probably going to be somewhere between 75 and 80 for the high, between 45, somewhere around 45, 42, 45 for the low. So if you want to tent camp, don't be scared. It won't be too cold for you. If you've got an RV, it's great. So haul it up there empty. Up at the reservoir, they've got a water spigot. You can fill up your RV with water, so you don't have to haul it up the mountain.
So we're 10 days away. We're a little bit late on getting some of this stuff lined up, which we'll have to put it in high gear and get it done. Dinner at 6:30 on that Saturday night. If you want to come up for the dinner, we need to know how many people. So we got to figure out how much food to buy. So there's a nice sign-up sheet on the website.
Yeah, go to the event on the calendar and click on it and say how many people are going to be going to the spaghetti dinner. That's all we really want to know.
Club's going to buy the spaghetti dinner. I know we just got like almost 20 grand in donations for the repeater, but that's going to go to the repeater. We still are pretty thin margins on the club, how much money we make. We're going to buy the dinner though. We've actually been very fortunate this year so far. We're going to go ahead and pick up the dinner. If you want to throw $5, $10, $20 in the little bucket we'll have up there, great. But we just need to know how many people we're buying for. So you're going to need to tell us, I'm coming up, 2 things. I'm coming up there, I'm going to bring so-and-so with me. It's like me plus 1 or me plus 2, whatever. And then, are you going to stay overnight? Do you need to camp up there? And the next morning, those who do stay overnight, Brett and I are probably going to whip up a little bacon, eggs, and toast for you guys in the morning. So we kind of need to know what to buy for the people that are staying. If you're going to do food up there during the day, you're going to have to need to bring your own snacks, bring your own lunch. So pack your stuff and bring it up there. And if you're going to stay up before the dinner and want to have lunch on that Saturday or whatever. We're going to provide bottled waters all day long, and the drinking water up there is perfect. But if you want to have sodas or whatever, that's on you guys. Bring your stuff in a cooler for yourself, whatever you want to drink, put it in your car.
Make sure you're drinking plenty of water when you're up there. You will get dehydrated very quickly, and bring sunscreen.
8,000 feet.
That sun is beating down.
Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, you mentioned something about setting up the antennas on Friday night. For those of us who have volunteered to help with that, we need to know that. So
Yeah.
we need to know what time.
We're going to decide that, whether we're going to do that for sure or not. And we might not need to. I mean, it might be fairly easy to do if we have enough people. If we have enough people on hand to help out, we could do it on Saturday morning and
Those
just.
loops are gonna be super.
Those
quick.
are
The
super-
one that's gonna take the longest would probably be the 80-meter loop and the vertical.
So it may be that we just do it Saturday morning as normal.
Yeah, put an announcement on Groups Island.
We will very soon. We'll put it on email too. We'll email blast and groups. 8,000 feet up there. That sun he mentioned, by the way, just remember that for every 1,000 feet in elevation, you're getting 10% more exposure to the sun. So you're about 2,500 down here. Up there, you're at 8, your sun exposure increases pretty good. So protect yourself up there if you're outside during the day. Okay, any questions? I know there's probably a few, but more information's coming. Okay. All right, wow, we finally made it to Jack. Is there anything I'm forgetting, Nancy? No? Brett, anything? Okay, I'm going to introduce Jack. Some of you guys know Jack, WA7LNW. He's going to take over.
So I'm Jack Reed, WA7LNW. Lived in southern Utah for about 26 years now, but anyway, and love it here, of course. And so I was fortunate enough when I first got here to get involved with the Hurricane Mesa Test Facility. How many people have been up there? It's near Smith Mesa, have you? Yeah, so you know how unique it is, right? Yeah, some of you might have even watched some of the tests when you were young. They used to test over the edge of the cliff there. So anyway, I'm going to tell you about that tonight, and then I'm going to talk about some of the ham radio related activity that's up there as well. So. Yeah, we do. In fact, hold on a second here. Let me get this ready. Okay. So I've already introduced myself. My call sign is WA7LNW, and you'll hear me operating also as W7CXX. That's the Collins Amateur Radio Group. The CXX is kind of similar to the other Collins Amateur Radio Clubs around the United States. So as you're on, you know where everybody knows where the Hurricane Mesa is, on your way out to Springdale, and just before you get into Virgin, the little town of Virgin, there's a road on your left that says Mesa Road. And if you turned left on that road and drove up that road 3.2 miles, you'll come to the front gate of the facility. But from the SR9, you look off to the left, and that's what you're seeing right here. And what's in front here is the old sheep corrals and everything when they used to do sheep runs. You know, Sheep's Bridge crossing, the sheep bridge? Okay, they used to bring sheep across there and put them in this corral. So here's what's on top of the Hurricane Mesa. And sometimes people get confused about what's Hurricane and what's Smith. Hurricane is the lower mesa. And what you're looking at is a supersonic ejection seat sled track that was built for the U.S. Air Force by Coleman Engineering back in the 50s. They built this within 1 year. The first test they conducted on the sled track was in July of 1955. But this sled track, you're looking north, and it's 12,000 feet long, so essentially 2 miles long. The elevation of the overall mesa is 5,300 feet. It's about the same elevation as Cedar City. So that's the kind of weather you get and everything like that. The Air Force chose this location because the sleds come towards you, which means they're headed south, which means there's lots of light. And one of the key aspects of doing sled testing is high-speed photography. And it needs lots of light. The faster the rate of frames per second, the more light you need. So, and the weather is not bad either up here as well. So the first, let's see right here, the first 3,000 feet from where you're looking at toward, that's all water in between the rails. And by the way, these rails are like railroad rails. Okay, so when you come to the gate, it's operated today, it's owned and operated by Collins Aerospace. That's a Raytheon division. The site has been owned and operated by several different companies over the years. In fact, a lot of people will say to me, "Oh, you still doing anything up there?" And yes, it's actively being used all the time. So this is what the sled track looks like when you get down on the ground. And you can see the rails there and everything like that. And so there it is, an example of what we do every day up there, along with a lot of other tests and so forth. So now I'm going to switch gears here, and I'm going to show you a capabilities video which I think is probably the best way to explain what's going on up there.
To the mile-high plateau of Hurricane Mesa in Utah for Air Force supersonic research. Here, a rocket sled tests pilot safety equipment by simulating the fantastic stresses of supersonic flight. The sled streaks down a 2.5-mile track, gaining velocity steadily. At peak acceleration, the dummy is ejected to hurtle over a 1,000-foot cliff, the most drastic trial of the safety gear that spells life or death for America's airmen.
Located just 2 hours from the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada, and nestled in the majestic beauty of Zion National Park, sits one of the most unique testing facilities in the world today, the Hurricane Mesa Test Facility. The Hurricane Mesa Test Facility, commonly referred to as HMTF, is a remarkably versatile facility, a subsidiary of Goodrich Aerospace. Beginning in the 1950s and continuing through today, this 6,500-acre facility has provided one-stop testing capabilities to the United States Armed Forces, as well as domestic and international corporate customers. HMTF offers a myriad of unique features, including a 12,000-foot test track, capable of up to supersonic velocities, a master control center, a fully equipped vehicle assembly building, complete with a machine shop and parachute packing facility, numerous camera stations, and a 4,000-foot improved surface private landing strip. You may fly into Las Vegas McCarran International Airport, located just 150 miles southwest of the facility, or utilize the regional airport located in St. George, Utah, just 40 minutes from HMTF. The St. George and Zion Park areas offer a wide variety of lodging accommodations. The test facility is sensitive to the customer's need for privacy. The track's independent nature and secluded geographic location provide customers security. This testing facility is truly disguised by nature. It rests on a mountainous tabletop with 400-foot sheer cliffs, totaling a drop of nearly 1,500 feet to the valley floor. In addition to its geographical features, alarm systems, surveillance cameras, and an 8-foot security fence ensures that the customer's proprietary assets and data remains private, permitting one to feel comfortable with the Mesa's confidentiality and security. The site accommodates customers by offering flexible schedules and a quick turnaround. At the Mesa, your project is our priority. We provide rapid results without taking shortcuts. We deliver quality testing in a timely fashion while following all safety protocols. Cut through the red tape and fast-track your project. Our staff can help you change and modify your project if you encounter a need for modifications while testing. The machine shop and on-site fabrication facility will keep your project on schedule, providing the necessary equipment and trained staff. The Hurricane Mesa Test Facility is one of the most complete and desirable sites of its type in North America. Since its origination, numerous private companies, government agencies, and foreign countries have used HMTF. The facility's technical capability and expertise meet almost any testing requirement, such as emergency escape systems, from zero to high-velocity environments, parachute validation drop tests, submunition delivery system, aircraft canopy testing, rocket launching of UAVs, cruise missile launching and flight tests, and impact testing, such as bird strike, ordnance test, and automotive crash tests. All of these tests and more can be accommodated at the Hurricane Mesa Test Facility. It is impossible to calculate the number of lives saved as a result of the testing done here. The seamless 12,000-foot test track is anchored to bedrock, making it stable and fully capable of handling supersonic speeds. The water brake and hydraulic arresting gear provide the means to safely stop vehicles as required. The facility's highly trained technicians and engineers prepare and install the sleds on the track, arm the rockets used for sled propulsion, and perform the controlled launch of the test sleds. All test parameters are measured using state-of-the-art data acquisition instrumentation equipment. The nerve center of HMTF is a longhouse. It serves as master launch control for all tests and houses the telemetry receiving station complex. Launch and instrumentation personnel's side-by-side effort assures the ultimate in test coordination and the accurate collection of data. The Hurricane Mesa Test Facility offers and supports the latest instrumented biofidelic mannequins with data acquisition system technology, commonly called DAS. Typically, a subcontracted and highly qualified vendor supplies this hardware and the operating support staff. Photography plays a vital role in the collection and analysis of data. Highly qualified and experienced subcontractors give HMTF the ability to provide superior photo coverage. HMTF camera equipment supports documentation coverage, continuous trajectory, space-time data, and selected event coverage of each test. Additionally, laser tracking of test articles can be provided if required. On-site slow-motion video playback offers instant feedback to the customer. Consider the benefits of using the Hurricane Mesa Test Facility. The real payoff is a successful test, from vehicle preparation to the documentation of results. Teamwork gets it done at the Hurricane Mesa. Our record of success speaks for itself. Hurricane Mesa Test Facility, the optimum testing facility for customers who want reliable results.
Kind of like a little promotional video, but it kind of tells you everything and lets you see what's going on up there. So first of all, before I proceed, the site was primarily designed and built for aerospace escape systems, because what was happening is airplanes were going faster and faster and pilots couldn't get out and couldn't eject from those aircraft. So back in the 50s, everything was focused on ejection seats and a way to get pilots out of those aircraft when they needed to. So that's what its primary function has been and is still today the same. All the ejection seats that are tested up there are usually for the Air Force, and those seats are in every F-16, F-15, B-1, B-2, some black projects and things like that. T-7, Red Hawk, that's a new trainer that's coming out. Those all have this particular ejection seat. They're designed in Colorado Springs, Colorado. That's where the engineering team is. And then they ship them over here to this test site where they're put on the sled track and tested. And in order to qualify to go into an aircraft and into the field, they have to go through some really rigid testing, and it all has to be perfect every time. So, and they're rather expensive, and it takes a lot of time to do them. So here's one of the questions I always get when I tell people I work in a place where they do ejection tests, and there's a sled track involved. They want to know, was this Colonel John Stapp, who was a flight surgeon, did he do that historical run down the sled track to see? He wanted to know what the effects on a human being would be. They were already testing with monkeys, bears, and pigs. We did the same thing up there at the Mesa in the 50s. And we didn't have computers back then that could tell us what they tell us today. So he volunteered to ride this sled right here called the Sonic Wind #1. And they strapped him into this thing, and he became the fastest man on Earth, according to Time magazine. December 10th, 1954, he went 632 miles an hour and experienced minus 46 G in 1.4 second duration. He's lucky to be alive, but yeah, he's lucky to be alive. And but I'll tell you this, he lived till 89, so he lived 89 years. So despite all the trauma he may have experienced in this and other tests,
How many times did he do it?
he wanted to do it one more time and at faster speed, and they wouldn't let him. So he was young at heart, let me take it that way. But anyway, yeah. So while he was testing in at the White Sands, at Holloman, White Sands Missile Range area over there, they have a big long sled track. We were doing the same thing where Hurricane Mesa was testing up there on the mesa at the same time. And you can see here's some historical sleds that they were using at the time and what they were experimenting with. And like I said, they used bears, pigs, and monkeys. They had an x-ray table, they had an animal handler. I mean, same thing that NASA was doing with all their rocket testing, and Holloman was doing the same thing. Wright-Patterson was doing the same thing. And by the way, all the monkeys that lived, they lived out a really good life because they stopped using them, of course. And then they put them on retirement. And they put them in a really nice Shangri-La type thing for the rest of their lives. So today, what we use is anthropomorphic test dummies. These are highly instrumented test dummies. And the instrumentation and the load cells and all the joints and the neck and everything like that are calibrated to resemble that of a human being. So when we eject these test dummies out of a sled, you know, an F-15 sled or F-16, and they experience that wind blast and all the gyrations and everything, the computer records all that, and we can analyze that, and we can tell whether a pilot would have gotten injured or died, but usually just injured. And this is what they look like. So here's one of our test sleds. It's pretty popular. It's the F-15. It actually was a flying aircraft. We turned it into a test sled. And these little red boxes that you see on here, those are high-speed cameras. They're running about 1,000 frames per second to capture the ejection process. And you'll see them on all the test sleds and everything like that. Here's the F-16. It was a dual-place F-16. It never flew. It was a fit-check aircraft. When we got it out of Texas and turned it into a sled, it had all these little wooden boxes everywhere to represent components that they were going to add to it. And we had to pull all that out along with all the wiring and everything. And then we turned it into a test sled. Here's the new T-7A. This replaces the T-38 trainers. The T-38s, you see the astronauts flying those all the time for training. Those are being replaced by this Boeing T-7A. And it's just now being rolled out. We developed the ejection seat for it and did the testing for it. Here's an example of a unique sled that we use for wind blasting. We put a mannequin in front. See, one of the dangers of a pilot ejecting is you get up close to Mach 1 and the wind blast will crush your chest and kill you. And so we do a lot of wind blast testing to test the seat structure, and also the uniform, the helmet, and all these things that a pilot might be wearing. Here's actually that same sled, but here's all the high-var rocket motors behind it. I bet you've seen these high-var rocket tubes around southern Utah, because over the years, they've used thousands of them, and they would give them away to farmers, and they'd use them to make gates and fences and all kinds of stuff. But you'll see them all over. They're 5-inch in diameter, and they produce 5,000 pounds force each. That's a lot of force. And they burn for 0.89 seconds. And they stage them. So as a sled goes down the track, it hits these high voltage screen boxes, and it fires off so many rockets each time until it gets up to the actual test velocity that's been specified by the test engineers. And at that point, it goes to a 0 G attitude, so it's not positive or negative G, and then that's when the ejection occurs. And so that's what the goal is. This is a typical kind of a laboratory ejection. It wasn't even ejection. It's it has a device on it which, when the pilot pulls the center handle to eject, it pulls the pilot back and straightens his spine up against the back of the seat so he doesn't get injured. So that was a test of that. So one of the things that have changed over time is these gigantic helmets. They used to have a heads-up display, like on the F-16, they have a heads-up with a mirror and everything, so they could see all the flight information, the controls on the plane. Now they're integrating that right into the helmet. And so it's actually projected right there on the visor. But what happens, you've got a bigger helmet, you've got all kinds of wires and everything that go up to that helmet that have to be ballistically cut when the pilot ejects. And so that's part of the testing, is to develop an ejection seat that basically protects the pilot. Yeah, this looks pretty good, doesn't it? This would be great for Halloween. My son helped me pronounce this PLZT. It stands for polarized lead zirconium titanate, I guess. And what it is, it's just like your welding helmet. As soon as it sees a flash, it darkens. So what do you think they use this for? Yeah, nuclear tests, the nuclear. They're prepared for nuclear war, so to speak. Here's what the Enola Gay pilots and crew were wearing. Big difference, huh? Whoa, yeah. I bet they got some sunburn too, maybe. Anyway, so here's the ejection seat. This is the most modern ejection seat that Collins Aerospace builds and produces and designs and puts into aircraft. And the unique thing about this is it's modular. Before, when you have to pull these ejection seats out once in a while and repack the parachute, or change out all the CAD pad, which is all the energetic devices that make certain things happen, gas generators and everything all over this thing. Well, you just have to remove the canopy, like on an F-16, you gotta remove the canopy, take it off, and then slide the seat up the rails and out of the aircraft and then work on it. So with a modular seat, you don't have to do that. Two airmen can basically pull pins and remove this seat within 15 minutes and never touch the canopy or anything. And it can be worked on, or they can have another seat and they just slide it in place. So the aircraft is not down for as long as it would have had been in the past. One of the things I want to point out is you might say, well, why are you still testing ejection seats? They've been around here a long time. Well, every time a pilot gets injured or whatever, they go, well, what caused that? What can we do to make it safer for pilots? And so this is a head and neck restraint. And so basically when the pilot ejects, that comes down and brackets his head so his neck is not in the wind. Right here, these are arm restraints. They come out on the side of the seat and catch the arms so they don't flail and break. Right here, you've got leg restraints. These are little straps. So when the pilot gets in the aircraft, he straps those around his ankles. They're loose, but they're there. And so when the seat goes up out of the aircraft, these pull his legs in that type of a thing. And then, of course, arm restraints restrain that, and then his neck is like that. So he's all kind of constrained when he goes into that wind blast. Again, that's that dangerous part, wind blast. And then at a certain point, within seconds, parachute comes out, and then he's released from the seat. There's a mechanism that basically releases the lap belt and the shoulder harnesses and all that stuff. Now he's just hanging underneath the parachute. What happens to the seat? It just goes tumbling to the ground. They don't try to save it or anything. It just goes to the ground. Now the seat has a computer in it. And so what it's got these pitot tubes. And the seat has 3 modes. So when it comes up out of the aircraft, it wants to know what altitude it is, what airspeed it's at, and temperature, barometric pressure, all that. And that tells the seat when to deploy the drogue chute and the parachute. So there's not a lot of, moment on the head slapping back and all that kind of stuff. What if the pilot's above 15,000 feet? Well, there's oxygen on the seat. So emergency oxygen. So he's got oxygen until he falls down below 15,000. And that's the other thing the computer does. It won't let it deploy the parachute until it gets below 15,000 feet. So it's a smart seat in a lot of ways. So there's 2 different size mannequins that they test, the Air Force wants to test. One of them, we call him LARD, which stands for Largest Anamorphic Research Dummy, okay? Yeah, he's large, he's like 245 pounds, and By the way, the seats are about 350 pounds each. Anyway, the lard is about 245 pounds. And then Lois, lightest occupant in service, about the size of Nancy there, it would be Lois. And now there's a rocket motor on the back of this seat. So what's important about testing with different size occupants is the injury that they might occur with their spinal cords and things like that. And so anyway, that's one of the reasons why they test all that. So here's the F-15 sled. It's a great sled. Run it down the sled track a lot of times. And here's the pusher sleds behind it. These are all the high-bar rocket motors. And I remember this day because it was snowing at Zion National Park and back. It was snowing. And we had we must have had 60, 80 people on site from the Air Force and different companies and stuff. And we were determined to get this thing down the track. So we set it all up, brought the rockets out, hooked them all up and everything. And this went down the track at Mach 1, about 671 miles an hour. And you can see the Mach cloud above the head of the pilot and everything like that. But that's what it looks like. And so imagine that sitting on the track and you're getting ready to launch it. So the most important thing about these tests is quality data. Everything, you got to record everything. You got to have good photographs. You got to have good electronic data, telemetry, and everything. And so this trailer here has all these screens. Each one of those screens represents one of the high-speed cameras that's on board that sled. And there's about 16 others that are up and down the sled track on both sides that capture outside external information. So here it is, going down the track, Mach 1, 761. It achieved Mach 1 in 7.2 seconds from the moment you hit the button to fire it off. Now, people will say, I want to ride that sled. I think I'd like to do that. Well, you just black out. I mean, the G-forces are too much. And yeah, so you black out and that kind of thing. But a dummy doesn't care. That's why maybe that's why they call them dummies. So here's the ejection. You can see the rocket motor, seat pack on the bottom. It's got a gyro that spins up, and it keeps the seat, believe it or not, it keeps the seat kind of straight up. And so there's an example of it. There's the parachute head box that's deployed, ballistically deployed. And here's the stay pack and all this that keeps the seat the way it is, upright. Here's an ejection with just the drogue chute coming out of the back of it. This was a TAV-8B dual seat sled. It was tested there. Now this is a famous, I bet you've seen this in a lot of magazines and things like this. This was an actual ejection during an air show at Mountain Home Air Force Base in 2003, the Mountain Home Air Force Base in Idaho. It was Captain Curtis Strickland. And you can go on the internet and you can actually find the in-cockpit video of him pulling the handle and ejecting. So what happened on this was he went up, he didn't have the altimeter set properly for the altitude that they were operating at. Just a mistake, human error. He went up, and he was about 1,000 feet lower than what he should have been before he started his. So he came around, and this F-16 is sinking. You know, he's got everything going. It's full bore. He's got all the flaps, everything to try to gain, to save it, but he can't. It's just sinking. So he barely got out because when the aircraft is sinking, now you're going to eject out, but you're sinking at the same, so it takes away from your vertical clearing of the tail and everything like that. But he got out okay. But what's really interesting about this is we bought. There was a corpsman that had a motor drive for film, and he took this entire sequence. And so the company at the time bought a whole bunch of these so they could make posters and stuff like that. But on an F-16, you cannot eject through the canopy. The canopy has to be jettisoned. And so that's exactly what happens. The canopy gets jettisoned. That tells the ejection seat it's clear, and then the ejection seat automatically, ejects after that. In fact, here's an ejection handle. There's a center pull. I'll pass it around. It's an actual ejection handle on one of the seats, and that's what you would try to pull. They have on an ejection seat, they have side pull, and they have a center pull. And sometimes I hear pilots saying, if the aircraft is out of control, the G-forces, it's hard to get their hands down on those, but, they do it. The adrenaline's really going. So, anyway. So that's a good example of that. And for those people that do flight simulation, there's the ideal one. Yeah. Yeah. I found this on the internet. It's not mine, but my son would love to have it for sure. Okay, so now let's talk about ham radio. So up at the Mesa, I worked up there for 23 years off and on. Sometimes I was over at the National Lab in Albuquerque for a while too. But then for the last 16 years of my career up there, I was the manager. But before that, I did high-speed photography and also did instrumentation, gathering data to talk for the engineers and so forth. So I got a chance to see it all. But being a manager for 16 years, I also had some, and especially when it became owned by Collins, because Collins Radio, right? That whole company is all radio oriented. I mean, all the engineers, a lot of them are ham radio operators, and they've got a museum in Cedar Rapids, with all the Collins radio stuff. They produce radios for the space program. So we took advantage of that. Here's my home station. I live in Coral Canyon, antenna restricted, of course. There's my workbench, always fixing something. You'll see there's a lot of radio equipment up there, and it's always being challenged by Mother Nature. So what I have up there is I have an HF remote. So at the house, when I turn on the radio, it turns the radio on up the HF remote. Some of you probably have HF remotes even or used them. And you turn the dial and tune it, and it's tuning up there. You change you go to the computer screen and you tell it you want to rotate the antenna, it does that. And so it's almost like, it's being there, but not having the antenna tower right there with you. So here is, I use a K3 up there at the Mesa, which is 19 miles away from my house, and a K3 at the house. And here I am sitting in front of it. I'm really into contesting and DXing, and POTA now, by the way. And so anyway, but this is an aerial of the Hurricane Mesa, and you can see where the HF remote is located, right there on the edge. And this is kind of an aerial picture of it. This is the tower, 72-foot tower. It's a 5-element, 6-meter beam, and a hex beam, 5-band hex beam up there. This was an R7 skimmer. Do you guys remember the trailer that used to hang out over the edge?
Yeah.
Oh man, a lot of people got mad at me. We had to remove it, and they didn't want. Why'd you have to take it away? This is where it's set right there. And for those that aren't familiar, this was a regular trailer with the wheels off of it. And Bob Stanley in 1965, one of the owners at the time, placed it out here, and he stuck about 10, 15 feet of it where the hitch would hook to a truck. Over the edge, over the edge. I had customers that would refuse to go into it. It was our lunchroom. And so, yeah. And they would refuse. They'd sit in their truck, and I guess they just.
I was told that part hanging over was a restroom.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I tell you what, you walk in there, and there's holes in the floor. You craction over the ears, right? Oh, and there's daylight down through there for sure. But it became snow load and everything on the roof. We had to pull it off of there. We turned it into an observation deck, and then we brought this building right here up from Phoenix in 2 halves, brought it up the Mesa Road. It's a really windy little road, and brought it up here and set it all up. It's a really, really nice building. And so the remote HF radio station is on this end of it right here. There's a back room, and I'll show you what that looks like. But first I'm going to show you another video clip. No audio, so you don't have to worry about that. So this will give you an idea. Oh, hold on a second. This will give you an idea of just how precarious it is. Okay, hit play.
Is this belong to your company?
What's that?
Is this belong to your company?
Yeah, this is located at the Hurricane Mesa.
Yeah, but it's the company owned.
Oh no, the equipment belongs to the radio group. So I contribute some, all together. We had 5 licensed radio operators at the time. So the tower, however, was mine.
So you had a camera on a really long stick?
I did. It wasn't a windy day. So I've got a friend down there with a quadcopter. Chris Woodbury, you guys know Chris Woodbury from Hurricane?
Yeah.
Okay, I worked with Chris, and that's him right there. And he's doing this for me. But you can kind of see it. It's a great location for an antenna. let me tell you, for DXing and contesting. Right now you're looking kind of northeast, about 35 degrees into Europe. You're swinging it around into, directly east through the rest of the United States. But it's right on the very edge. And that's a 1,500-foot drop-off down to the valley floor. So, straight down. These buildings right here, these are elevated camera positions that they used over time. That's the Virgin River down there, SR9 down below. Kind of reminds me of Masada. Just, really isolated, hard to get to, and everything like that. The sled track is over here. That's where it runs right there. So people would, would come over here into the lunchroom and eat lunch. So, it would accommodate about 80 people or so. Okay, let me see if we get back here to it.
Is the airport still closed?
Yeah, we used the airport for a number of tests, and then we closed it because liability company, didn't want to have people flying in there. Occasionally, people will fly in there, and it's available for emergency. We do mow it. Gets a lot of like sunflowers on it, stuff. So we mow it, but it's X'd out on both ends. Are you a pilot?
Yeah, I flew over last week.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, we've had some really interesting visits. Air Force, would fly, A-10s down the track, doing knife edges and stuff like that. Black Hawk helicopter. Everybody knows that that's an ejection seat manufacturing and testing site. So, and many of those planes, like the A-10, that actually has one of our ejection seats in it. So here's the lunchroom. You can see the tower in the background. And then this is the radio inside that back room. And there's so that's the K3, and they're linked together by remote rig boxes. And that's what allows the two radios to talk to each other over the internet. And to the right is the linear amplifier. And this is what the room looks like. And this is the organization. So the way it works is you get this computer to talk to all of this equipment. Then all you have to do, of course, is just log into that computer. Remotely log into it. And when you do, this is the screen you see. And so you've got the ability to rotate the antenna on the tower. You can turn on the linear amplifier. You can adjust the antenna tuner. You can select different antennas. And then this is a software-defined radio, so you actually have a band scope and everything you can see.
So Jack, didn't you used to have Kenwood radios up there?
I did. I had a TS480. How'd you know that? Yeah, I did.
You're really old.
Oh, you're really old. You go back as far as I did. Yeah, I started out with a TS480, and then somebody donated a second K3, and so we got, well, let's upgrade it, because we were really into 160-meter contesting, so we were trying to squeeze every signal we could out of it. But you're correct. It wasn't. Here's the tower leaned over for some maintenance. It leans over really close to the edge of the cliff. You're standing on a ladder. You're really close to the edge. I should have maybe moved that back a little bit. It's a self-supporting tower, and here it is all the way up.
What's the height? 72?
72 feet, fully. Yeah. So here's an interesting thing. It's 72 feet. We had it all the way up, self-supporting, but the winds up there are unbelievable. I mean, not uncommon to have 50, 70 mile an hour winds. And over time, it actually broke one of the legs down below. And I forgot what they call it, but welders, metallurgists know what that is. And so we had to actually repair that. So now I keep it nested. I just don't want to take any chances of going through that again. Here again is that area where the lunchroom trailer sat out over the edge. And it's got a flagpole. And so, of course, you got to use a flagpole. You got to support an antenna with it. So that's a 160 meter antenna. And I think it's snowing out there, so it's wintertime. That would have been about that. So yeah, okay. So we owned by a lot of different companies over the years, and then became Collins Aerospace. At that time, it was owned by United Technologies. Now it's Raytheon. So. Boy, when we got the Collins name, immediately we contacted the FCC and we said, oh, wow, Art Collins, the founder of Collins Radio, his call sign's W0CXX. So we applied and we got W0CXX, we got W7CXX. And the Collins Club in Richardson, Texas is like N5CXX and so forth and so on around the world. And we're not a club, it was just a Collins radio group. And this is what's inside that lunchroom. It's a really nice lunchroom, and we did a field day up there. And so we would set up CW station on one end of the lunchroom looking out this big window, and on the other end of the lunchroom was the sideband. And you can see the view. That's Zion National Park through that window. And here's a sideband station. And Mike's a member of our club. So he came up to, first time I ever met him. I met him on the air, but had never met him. He came up in person. I invited him. Here's Ricky. He lives just south of Cedar City. He's also got a 4x4 call in Israel. K7NJ. He's a famous 160-meter operator, much like other people. Bruce out of New Mexico came over. He and I worked together at the lab for a while. Here's Tom. He's a high school buddy. I went to high school with him. We've got our amateur radio license really close to each other. You can see that. He's got NPX. So interesting thing, I took this picture of him and I posted it on Facebook. And I get this contact from ARRL, from QST, and they said, hey, can we use that picture? Can you send us a higher quality? I said, sure, use it. So they put it in QST magazine, and it kind of ran for the longest time on the inside and in this particular ad to get people to think about donating after they're gone. Okay, now let's talk about so you've seen the HF remote, which you control remotely. So we also have a low band antenna system up there, because there's lots of land. It's, I used to call it 6,500 acres, but on top it's probably about 3,500 acres. And so this building is not too far from the lunchroom, and it used to be actually a residence. We used to have a family used to live up there, and yeah, pretty remote. So anyway, it's vacant, and we store things. They stored things in there, so we decided that's a perfect place for a software-defined receiving station that focuses on 160 meters and 80 meters. And so the antenna that we chose to use were what they call BOGs, beverages on the ground. So we run a RG6 coax out to this point here, which is about 300 feet out from this building. And then from there, we put in 968 feet wires in all these different directions. Talk about a target for lightning. Oh my God. You just get a near strike anywhere, it takes everything out. I'll show you some of that too. But anyway, all of those, we use this program on your iPhone. It's a theodolite program. So you can really narrow in exactly where that beverage wire is. Now, beverages on the ground is just what it says it is. It's on the ground. Typically, a beverage is up about 10 feet, but because we have so much wildlife up there and everything, we were afraid that they would just be pulling it down all the time. So we did it on the ground, and it works really, really well. This is the configuration for it. You have a termination point just like you would on a normal beverage, like about 300 ohms to a ground stake, and then here's the 968 foot or whatever the length was, varied a little bit depending on which direction we went. It goes into a single wire beverage box and into a current limiting choke, and then back down that coax to the shack. At the end of I had friends come up. A lot of people were involved with this because it was kind of a unique opportunity. So the end of those wires had to be terminated with a resistor, like a 300 ohm resistor. And so here we are putting resistors at the very end of that wire. And I'm not sure how good of a ground this was. We had to drill that hole in the sandstone. But you can see we're right on the very edge. Yeah. So all of those wires come to the center, just like a spoke on a bicycle wheel. And they come into this box. And in this box is antenna relays. These are Ameritron RCS-10s. And here's a preamp and another preamp over here, 18 dB preamp. And so all of that can be remotely controlled. And that RG6 comes back into this room right here. And it goes to this SDR Play RSPDX receiver. It's just an SDR radio receiver. And then this, again, the same kind of thing applies. Everything controlled by the computer that's sitting next to it, including selecting the antennas, what direction you want to listen and everything. And so again, if you can log into this computer, you can control everything. And so it's really interesting to listen to, let me tell you. So, are you married? Yeah, I'm married. More than once. Anyway, another thing that we have up there is a skimmer. you familiar with a CW skimmer? You know what those are? On CW, if you go on the air and you call CQ, these skimmers, which are basically software-defined radios, are listening on multiple bands 24 hours a day. And they pick you up and then they post you on the internet and to show you the signal strength and everything like that. And here's the receiver. It's it's called a red battaglia. It's out of Europe. But basically it monitors 8 bands, 196 kilohertz on 8 bands simultaneously. And it's looking for signals all over the earth. Here's just a quick shot I grabbed this morning. Not much DX over here. When you do the CWT or there's a lot of POTA activity, you see a lot of call signs like that here. Anyway, that is hooked up to those big wires, that big antenna, and so it receives very, very well. How many people use PSK Reporter?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah, you do? Okay, so here's the PSK Reporter. This is what this received in 24 hours. That little receiver, that red battaglia, listening to 8 different bands. They received all these signals out of Europe and out of Africa, out here in Asia and everything. And then I use a program called DX Lab. And it has a little program built into it called Spot Collector. And so here you see all the different bands. Here's 10 meters all the way down to 160. And you can see 10 meters is not active during the night, but the lower bands are active and so forth. It basically tells you where the activity is on the different bands at different times. So it's kind of helpful for propagation analysis and everything. But I use and the other thing about it is the software running on the skimmer, not only does it receive CW, but it receives radio teletype and posts it out here. FT8, every FT8 signal, FT4, PSK31, I don't see much of that much. But the FT8 is just constant stream of signals. That's for sure. Here's another little program I like. If you Google HA8TKS and say DX cluster, it'll bring this up. The thing I like about this is this also allows you to see this first column is the most active band. So here's 20, it's most active. The second, it's 40. But this includes CW and FT8 and RT2Y. And then you get this global map. So you kind of know the direction where you point your antenna if you wanted to. So I started out as a shortwave listener, so I kind of like receivers, as you can kind of tell. So when the antenna signal comes in off that RG6, it comes into a 3-way splitter. And it's an active 3-way splitter, because every time you split a signal, it drops about 3 dB. So with this active splitter, you can zero that out. So you get unity gain coming out of it. So these are 3 independent unity gain antennas going into these 3 red battaglias. This is the one that I just showed you that picks up the RTTY and the FT8, FT4. This one is listening to all the whisper frequencies. Everybody know what whisper is? Okay. Yeah. I have to back up here. It's Weak Signal Propagation Reporter. That's what whisper stands for. And so there's several tools out on the internet. One of them is called whisper.rocks. I mean, that's the web address to it, actually. And I like this one because I like the map on it and everything like that. It also shows you how many stations on each band have been received. And it also actually tells you about the quality and the number of countries over here, how many in Europe were received and everything on that map. So what those are little tiny transmitters, like this one right here, 200 milliwatt, and they're just sitting there, they transmit for 2 minutes. And so right at the top of the hour, you push that button, it'll transmit for 2 minutes, and then there'll be a lag for maybe 8 to 10 minutes, and then it'll retransmit for another 2 minutes. And that's where all these signals are received from. Here's another page called whisper.net at whispernet.org. Okay, so here's something that you guys can all gain, it's public access. In other words, this is a software-defined radio up there. It's a Web 88. That's what it looks like right there. And this is what the interface looks like. If anybody's used Kiwi SDRs, that's exactly what the interface looks like. This actually has a computer server in it, and so all you do is plug it into the internet, and it automatically has an IP address, automatically comes up, and you can log into it. This is what it looked like this afternoon when they were running a CWT this morning or this afternoon, I guess it was. Those are all CW signals on 20 meters
What do you have plugged in into the expansion port?
What's that?
On the expansion port, on the previous picture.
Uh-huh.
On the expansion port, the X.
What this right here is?
No,
the I/O.
Yeah.
Okay, so this had the ability to actually select antennas. So you could actually, using this software, you could go over here and at this extension, come up and it says antenna, and you could select, I think we could select 5 different ones, but we had to have those ISO relays to do it.
Used that, yeah. I have that unit, but I've never used the
Oh,
expansion
yeah,
port.
okay, yeah. That's what it is, basically, is what that is. So what you do is go out here to Web 88 Public Access. You'll get this map. And each one of these represent a receiver around the world, just like the one that's up the Mesa. And it also creates a list for you. You can see they're in Germany and Sweden. You can click on any of these IP addresses, and it'll take you right to that radio. And you can turn it on, you can listen to all the frequencies for shortwave and amateur radio. And one of the things that most people, maybe I couldn't illustrate here, but this group of extensions, you click on that and it pops up. And you can decode slow scan television, you can decode FT8, you can decode weather facts, transmissions from airliners around the world. So you can log into any one of these receivers around the world and then bring up those extensions and do those kinds of things with it. And then finally, we've got a couple of ADS-B receivers up there. Collins owns FlightAware, and so of course we've got to have a FlightAware ADS-B receiver, and that's what that is right there. And then we also have a Flight 24 ADS-B receiver up there. And those post out to the internet. Have you ever gone and seen the map and you see the planes flying around? This has great coverage. It's amazing coverage up there on the end of the Mesa. Okay, and finally, lightning damage, okay. So that's why my workbench was so busy. So there's a lot of tools on the internet. I love all the things that are available nowadays. So this is an app you can watch the lightning destroy your equipment in real time. In fact, that one right there did a number on us. It cost us a couple of $1,000s. This R7 vertical, used it for a variety of things. Anyway, lightning hit that. And here's the box, the little impedance box at the bottom. Oh, it took off, the copper clads completely melted off that PC board. The back of it, it's gone. Just vaporized it, okay? And tore it all apart. Look what it did to the coax coming out. It punched a hole in the side of the coax. It completely disintegrated the center pin, because this is a PL259 male. Yeah, it did a number on it, for sure. And there's the SO239, and it's completely gone as well. So I have these transy traps by Alpha Delta, and here's one right at the base. Here's one right at the base of that R7, right? Oh, I feel so sorry for it. So they have these little cartridges in them, and it goes in here, and you screw that in, and then you can see all the pitting and everything. But I feel so sorry about that guy. Can you imagine what it must have been like when he got hit by lightning? It was a direct hit. Direct hit.
Anything for a direct hit.
Yeah, nothing protects you from a direct hit. You're right, exactly, Tom. At one time, I had a 10-meter beacon up there. And same thing happened to it. It got hit by lightning as well. Yeah.
Why did it pick that?
What's that?
Why did it pick that rather than your tower?
Well, this is quite a ways away from the tower, but you're right. Yeah, the tower would have probably taken the hit first. This was a little bit of ways away. It's right on the edge, and it was wonderful. I had a friend who was in Germany. He was at a friend's house, and he called me up. I was at the office. He says, "You want to hear your beacon?" It was running 5 watts on 10 meters, and he let me hear the beaconing off. And so at 10 meters, back when 10 meters was really good. So I use a lot of these gas discharge tubes. Go ahead.
I used those same lightning suppressors. Did it save the equipment?
Luckily, I didn't have anything connected to that R7 vertical. Luckily, normally I have a IC7300 hooked to it, so other people can connect to it and all that. But I didn't have anything connected to it. I'm so glad, because I'm sure it would have taken it out. Yeah, yeah. That same strike hit the lunchroom, that same storm hit the lunchroom, and it took out a linear amplifier, didn't take out the radio, took out the rotor control, because there was a little like a computer circuit inside that automatically, you know, I could talk to it. Took that out, so I had to rebuild that. And anyway, here's the control line that goes out to those relay switches. You can see it came in and what it did to this. And this is just kind of a representation of how many computers we've gone through up there because of lightning damage. That was actually a STEM project for Africa, but we had all these computers stacked up, but it reminded me of that. Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much. Yes?
Was there ever a test sled?
Yeah, there's been a couple of calamities up there. There was one where I've seen a picture black and white where the sled went right to the very end, and the back slippers are still on the rails, but the front are off, and it's right on the very edge. I didn't go over. There's another one where it actually just disintegrated. They were running it at about Mach 1.3, and everybody's going, wow, look at that, and all of a sudden it just vaporized. I mean, it just came apart. And the cameras came off, the mannequins were gone and everything, and that was it. And they found on each one of these sleds, we put a run number on it, like 781 or whatever. They found that piece of metal laying out in the field, and they've got it in the manager's office on the wall. Yeah.
So one more question, please.
Sure.
What type of propellant was used?
These high-var rocket motors are also known as Mark 10s. They were typically used in the Vietnam War. They're dumb rockets, but you could screw a warhead of some type on there on the front, and then the fins as well. And that's what they were using them for. Also on ships, where you see these big box launchers go. I think those were high bars as well. So there's thousands of, well, not anymore because we burned a lot of them up. But anyway, there was thousands of these high bars, and the government gave them to us for free. All we had to do is pay for the transportation because they were going to demill them, and that's expensive because they have to send them off somewhere to demill them and transport them. So we go up there and get them and put them in our bunker, and then we use those in the sled. There's a little program we have, believe it or not, it runs on DOS. But anyway, it calculates the velocity target and how many rockets at each stage, and based on where you start the sled and the water and how deep the water needs to be in order to stop the sled and everything like that. And so it tells you how many rockets to use. Like on that 600 keys one, that F-15 that went Mach 1, there was like probably 125 rockets on there. So that was a lot of rockets. You can tell we go through a lot of rockets. That's why there's all these fence posts everywhere in southern Utah. Yeah. Any other questions?
Is there a sonic boom?
Yeah, there is. It depends on the weather and barometric pressure and clouds and all that kind of stuff. But I remember we failed to notify the police and fire department one time. And we came down the track at Mach 1, and big boom. In fact, one of the fellows that used to work at the Mesa, he was at a sandwich shop in St. George. And he called and said, hey, do you guys testing up there? I said, yeah. And I knew right there we were in trouble. And it does create a sonic boom.
And tell us about the systems stop the sled.
Okay, the last 3,000 feet of that 12,000-foot sled track, it's got water in between the track. And the water comes from a natural spring up on the side of the hill. It used to be pumped out of the Virgin River. Had a single pump down below and all these thrust blocks and everything to get it up there, and then they would put it in this pool. They had a diving board there and everything else. That's when people were living up there, working up there as well. But anyway, we stopped using that and we used the spring, and that water goes into storage tanks. We've got about 75,000 gallons of storage, and it's elevated such that there's not a single electric pump in the whole system. It just flows down, and we use valves that empties the water in between the track. And so the paperwork that I tell you about, it tells you what the height of that water should be from the top of the rail down to it. And it starts out where it just barely skims a little bit of water, and then skims a little bit more and starts slowing it down, slowing down, slowing down. Because when that sled's doing Mach 1 and it hits that water, it's got a thruster that throws that water back around, kind of like on an airplane. That water's coming at Mach 1 back out. it'll cut a truck in half practically. But yeah, so anyway, until it finally slows down and then it comes to a rest. Usually I try to calculate it so it would stop maybe 300 feet from the very end of the track. And the program was pretty good. The program was, I can't take credit for it, the program was developed by the US Air Force, and it just kept getting refined and refined. And it would stop within 50 feet of what you asked it to do. The only time it was kind of tough was when the wind's blowing, it kind of does this wash tub thing. So when you're going along and doing the lash measurement on the water to make sure everything is good, you kind of have to average it. Yes?
I'm sorry, this might be a dumb question. Back in the early 80s, somebody told me here in St. George, and I had my doubts, that when NASA was looking for a launch complex back in the early 50s, that this Hurricane Mesa was actually one of the candidates.
Really?
Figured it out. I figured if anybody would know the truth, it would be you.
I don't know, I haven't heard that one. But I've heard some interesting ones, like Schultz's. I went into Schultz's one day when I first got up here, and they're telling me that there's a grand piano at the end of the lunchroom with a glass floor, And then another story I heard was at the very end of the track, since they used to eject over the end of the mesa, they had these big, huge Bowen cameras. They'd roll up a door, and the cameras faced this way, and they would eject over the top, and then they'd photograph it going down. Someone told me that at night, those doors roll up and planes fly in and out of that. Yeah. Oh, and the other one is, there's aliens up there, for sure. There are definitely aliens up there, because at night, they see lights and stuff. And so those are some of the stories that came across over time. I've never heard the one about NASA, though.
I doubted it myself, but I had to ask.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Good question. Yes.
I already probably know the answer to this. Is there any chance you guys offer tours?
Well, occasionally we did in the past, but now they're starting to work on some programs that are not highly classified, but they're restricted. And so, yeah, it's kind of hard to get up there. That's why this program kind of tells you pretty much what you would see if you went up there, other than being able to walk to the edge and look over the edge, which is kind of a neat thing.
You go in to fix your hand gear?
Yeah, well, I continue to work up there a little bit and support the tests a little bit. You know what they give me, the job they give me now? To watch the front gate when the people come in. Make sure their name's on the sign-in, like that, and then escort them to a safe observation point. That's my, and I love it. I love it. So no stress at all. But we have a really good manager up there, and he's just a terrific guy. So anyway, that's the story on it.
Anybody else on the other board?